Hello, everybody. This is my spiritual journey, and our special guest today is Kaylee. Hi, Kaylee.
Hello. Hello.
I really wanted to do something like this because it's so helpful for me to hear about other people's journeys.
Mhm.
Like, you know, I have all of these questions, and I feel like when I hear people's stories, it really helps me, because it's not all unicorns and rainbows. And
Oh,
yeah, and yeah, for me, it really helps me understand things a lot. So
hmm.
thank you for being here, Kaylee.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Um, I did send you some of the questions beforehand, but we can go anywhere, Spirit, because they're not going to let us go eight,
Nope.
one, two, three, four, five. So, um,
Man, what's that?
yeah, and so this is like all about your spiritual journey. So if anything you want to share, we can look at the questions as we go, but I feel like
Yeah.
with you and I, we just flow. Yeah. So but we were just talking off
Yeah.
screen though about that I am really curious about like when you were growing up,
hmm
what were some of the things that you could really lean into to help you?
Yeah, so I moved around a lot as a child. So I was 7 years old when my sister was adopted. So my younger sister was adopted into our family, and almost immediately after she was adopted, we took off. My dad was in the military at the time. We took off to Germany for
Mhm.
2 years. And so it was basically like I went to an international school and stuff like that, but it was basically like our small little family group, and we like traveled the world. So like, at 7 years of age, I was going to, France and Denmark and like on a weekend.
Oh,
And like
wow.
it was just like the idea of like how big or small the world is, was different for me.
Yeah.
Especially for my sister, even more so. She was, 3.5, 4 years old. And when we came back to Canada, she would be like, "Oh, what country are we going to this weekend?"
Oh my gosh.
Well, like
Yeah.
we live in Ontario, and in Ontario, it takes you what, 2 or 3 days to get out of the province. Like,
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's huge.
Yeah.
Um, so like growing up, it was like a lot of moving and a lot of change all the time. Like there was no real consistency. Like I have no friends from before high school, basically.
Yeah.
Um, but for me, high school was kind of, I think like a lot of people, was like a really rough time for me.
Yeah.
And so I was bullied through elementary school. That continued into high school because, of course, the community I live in, everybody goes from like all the elementary schools to the one big high school, and it just
Everybody
continued.
knows, everybody
Yeah.
knows everybody. Yeah.
Um, and I think that for me, it was the timing that didn't work out. So when we came back here to Ottawa, where I live now, I was in grade six. And the way our school system works is it's elementary up to grade six, and then you go to high school, which is 7 through 12.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it was for me
So
too. Yeah.
yeah, so I was of course, one new kid out of everybody that had known each other since kindergarten in grade six. So I was kind of, ostracized, so to speak.
Hmm.
And then I went to high school where that continued, but then so that was more like the boys kind of leading that. And then, of course, with girls, you have, all the girl bullying stuff, which has to do with, physical looks and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, that was all happening. Also, my home life wasn't all that great because my sister has a lot of mental health issues. And so that was starting up because she was starting to hit kind of puberty and
The
all that,
right
and it got
age
worse.
for those things to
Yeah.
emerge.
So it was just like, school life wasn't necessarily great. Home life wasn't, stress free. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and with my dad, with his job, he was in the military, but then he became an airline pilot. So he would be gone for 3 or 4 days at a time.
Hmm.
And so I kind of had to step in to support my mom.
Yeah.
Um, so you're asking kind of like what was the thing I could lean on
Yeah.
after all this other storytelling. Um, so coming around to it, I had a teacher actually in high school that I kind of credit with, me still being here, honestly.
Wow.
Because you hear people talk about like, you hear of all these like young people committing, you know, unaliving. I'll say that because if you're going to post this on YouTube, you can't say the other word.
Yeah. Like choosing
But
choosing choosing to step out.
yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and I could definitely see why. And I mean, I grew up in a time where Facebook and stuff like that didn't exist yet.
Right.
So I felt very lucky because I did. I
Same.
had girls calling the house phone trying to bully me in my own house.
Oh my gosh.
But this teacher, so I had him, so we had, I don't know how school works in the States, but we had like a homeroom where we'd go first at the beginning of the morning, and then we'd
Mhm.
go to our whatever classes we went to.
Yeah.
So he was I had him from grade 7 all the way through to grade 11 when he
Wow.
transferred to a different school. I had him at least one class a year or at least one class a semester. So he was either homeroom. I
Wow.
went to a Catholic school, so like religion class. He did, there was like cooking classes, so like home ec kind of
Yeah.
classes. And I mean, I
Yeah.
love to cook, so I was like, yeah, elective, of course I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Um, and so I would have him, I could go and talk to.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the time I'd sit at the front of the class and him and I would just chat while everybody else is, goofing off or whatever. But it
Mhm.
was that almost immediate, just like click. And it was, I mean, it happens with you and I, but like you could be talking, feels like it's 15 minutes and 2 hours have passed. Like
Yeah.
it was that kind of
Yeah.
dynamic. But where this links kind of to my spiritual journey piece is, as I said, I credit him with getting me through those rough times of my life.
Yeah.
Because I would even go after school to talk to him.
Yeah.
But what I came to find out, because I asked, like so I lost touch lost touch with him after I graduated high school. When I was going to college, was able to kind of track him down and find like what other school he had gone to, and we did have a chance to speak then.
Mhm.
But since then, I've kind of lost touch. Um, and so my question was like, why there was that grieving period, honestly,
Oh,
because
absolutely.
like
Yeah.
I'm positive he was soul family. Like
Yeah.
talking about soul family now, I feel like
Yeah.
he was definitely soul family for me. Um, but one of the first kind of things that came up was I said, like this teacher, why? Um, and so one of the first, I remember it was grade 7 or grade 8. It was when, I don't know if you remember the TV show Touched by an Angel.
Oh
It
yeah.
was like, yeah. So like obsessed with that TV show at the time.
Hmm.
And so I'm sitting in class and I wrote like a little note and I said like, "Are you an angel?" question mark. And gave it to him because I'm like, he's not gonna like, if I come out and ask, he's not gonna say, of course.
Yeah.
I never got an answer from him. I never got like a clear answer.
Yeah.
Um, and so then when I started on the spiritual path about 3 years ago or so, I mean, I've always been on the spiritual path, but I guess like seriously focusing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, what that was, it was kind of one of the questions of like who, what, where, when, like why was he in my life? And I had Archangel Raphael come in,
Hmm.
and he's like, I was working through him. See, and I got chills.
Yeah.
Like I was working through him. So I feel like when I asked him, like, are you an angel? What I was feeling into was me actually feeling Raphael's energy
Mm.
working through him. And so what I was told is basically like, don't continue to keep looking for him because
Right.
that teacher you knew
Yeah.
isn't here anymore. Like I don't know if he necessarily has physically, like his 3D body has physically left this
Right.
world, but his
Yeah.
soul contract, if you want to talk about it that way, was finished. Like
Yeah.
he got me to where I needed to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I see him as like solid stepping stones through a river.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like
There's actually
it's
Josh
gonna get
Groban
it's
just
like
came.
it's gonna get a little
Yeah.
messy, but
Yes,
here,
exactly.
yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
Josh Groban just came out with a song. It's on Spotify if anybody wants to listen to it, but it's called The Constant.
Okay.
And it's that's what he was. He was the constant. As you said, he was the rocks in, a stream. He was
Yeah.
like when everything else was turbulent and there was like nothing to hold on to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
everybody needs somebody or
Yeah.
people, not even one person, community that they
Yeah.
can.
like what are people's like stepping stones? Like, yeah, what helped you get through? It's like high school or, grade school, whatever. It's like it kind of feels like uh what are those things called? It's not ping pong, but it's like the game you play where like the ball goes through and
Pinball?
yes, pinball. Thank you. It's kind of like that. Like you get
Yes.
banged up, and it's just like, even if you're going through the hallway bumping into people, it's just like,
Right.
oh my gosh. Like for me, nature was my
Mm.
grandmother just kind of knew like what I needed. And so when she had time off, like my parents were really young and busy,
Okay. Yeah.
like just figuring life out. And so my grandmother would, yeah, my grandmother was kind of my
Mm.
stepping stones just to get me to nature and
Right.
just to, I was talking to my eldest Finn, and we were talking about like remembering what recess was like,
Yes.
and how recess for kids is supposed to be a place where they can go find a place that'll help them settle for like the next class,
Hmm.
right? Like go for some people, I mean, I kind of feel like all schools feel like kids need to run, you
Right.
know, but the way it is for other individuals is different. Like Finn just had such a hard time being in a social setting with anxiety that
Hmm.
drawing, or like they would find little things in nature, to like make into a little like,
Hmm.
acorn and this and that and like little people,
Yeah.
but then they got, spoken to, which a socially anxiety person does not want to get spoken to. um and like, oh, you can't draw during recess, and it's just like, and even
Yeah.
even PE class, it's
Oh,
like,
weird.
a lot of people don't get diagnosed with like Ehlers-Danlos or POTS, and it's just
Right.
like, hey, let's take this
Everybody's
hard,
gonna run.
yeah, everybody has to run and you have to do this many sit-ups, and
Yeah.
yeah. So being a
Yeah.
kid, I'm glad that you had that person. And I feel like there is, even if you're not sure, but if you look back maybe on your life, there was always something there on the side for us
Right.
to look into, and whether we chose that or not, that was all up to us. But I do feel like even in the darkest of times,
Mhm.
there's some light somewhere, for
Well,
people.
and I think it relates with your grandmother too, but like what just came to mind is like with him, it was one of the first times in my life, other than of course like our parents, where you feel like, oh, they have to love me, like they're
Yeah,
really contracted into loving me. But it was like the
yeah.
first time I felt actually like seen, like
Seen.
beyond the masking and everything else
Oh,
that we have to put on. It was like he's
yes.
seeing past that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
it was still there, but it was, what is it, transparent? Like he could see through
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, like that front that like, yeah, I'm doing great. He's like, are you really though? Like,
I,
like yeah.
yeah. Like I see you and I see the
Yes.
struggles. And so you said that was Raphael?
Raphael said, yeah,
Raphael. Okay, so
yeah,
um I love that he was working through somebody who was like, you had him each year except for
yes.
12th, but
Yeah.
what a clever thing to do.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah. And it just like I never planned it that way necessarily. It was always just it's just so happened that yeah.
yeah. And I love thinking about that idea, Kaylee. Like when you do have a special connection to somebody, it's like
Hmm.
it might just be that that person's, they're stepping aside, almost like they're
Yeah.
channeling, then they may not even know they're channeling
Oh gosh, yes.
somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's really cool. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about next?
Hmm. I was gonna say, what were some of the other questions? I
Okay,
was trying to remember. Yeah.
I'm gonna go intuitively.
And that one.
Okay. Um, this was a question. It's okay if you don't necessarily
Yep.
answer this, but
You remember what I answered? Yeah.
it opens up a conversation is what's a mantra or affirmation that you live by?
Ooh. Yeah, I don't remember what I wrote for this one.
Yeah.
Um,
Or just that question, like what comes up
yeah.
intuitively for you?
Um, it's one that actually I've been trying to more embody, and it's one that Jen kind of ta taught. It's the open and curious. Especially lately, I've been kind of, everybody has their healing journey, and it's me. I've always struggled with processing emotion, kind of trying to figure out where emotion is coming from. For me, my body and mentally too, I tend to just get overwhelmed, whether it's good, bad, or otherwise,
Yeah, yeah,
and just like don't know what to do with myself at all.
yeah,
So I've been trying to step into that open and curious piece, even in regards to my emotions. So for example, like my parents are away right now on a trip, and I have had all these feelings coming up, and it's kind of sitting there and being like, okay, why? It's asking the whys,
yeah.
which is another great one. That's a Tanis teaching there, the
I
five
love that.
whys.
Yeah.
I think it's like root cause analysis is what it's called, but
Mm.
it'll be like, I'm feeling angry. Okay, why? And then trying to get to like, so
Yeah.
is it actually anger or is it something else entirely? Um,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So yeah, that's been kind of the two I try and keep in the back of my mind just to help me get through as I see
That's
that overwhelm. Because
yeah,
instead
that's
of just
great.
standing there and flailing and being like, oh my God, I don't know what to do with myself, I can be like, okay, we're gonna take
Yeah.
one piece, look at it. Okay, now take the next piece, look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, sometimes you just want to put the covers over your head
yeah.
and be like,
Don't want to adult today.
yeah, yeah. Um, I was wondering too if we could talk about you have some really amazing um co-conspirators out there in the non-physical. Um, and I
Yeah,
was yeah, would you be able to talk about your friends that help you out?
yes. I think you're referring to my dragons.
Yeah, I love dragons. Yes.
So yeah. And it's one of those things again where you're like, I didn't ask for this, it just happened. And spirit is like that, of course.
Yeah.
They're like, this is what we know this is what you need, so we're gonna send it. Um, and so yeah, I have five of them that I work with fairly regularly, more so some than others.
Hmm.
And I think that kind of tells me that I maybe need to reassess where I'm putting my energy into.
Yeah.
Because yeah, some of them I do feel get ignored just because I feel like I don't have the time.
Right,
But I'm
right.
like, I could make the time.
Yeah.
So I have the first one that came through for me was actually when I got my Reiki 1 attunement. He just like boom showed up. He's like, "Hi, I'm
Yeah.
gonna help you."
Yeah.
So he Meili is his name. And he is I call him my Reiki dragon, but he's honestly just like my energy healing
Yeah.
dragon.
What's his name?
Meili. So like I was
Haley.
told it was MEI and then dash like LI.
That's cool.
Um, and he's like the personality I kind of describe him as is like Falcor from like Neverending Story
Yeah.
because he has this like deep, like really amused like laugh when he's fine like we were doing a meditation I think at one point where we were working with like heart fire energy and like the fire element
Yeah.
and like I'm sitting there in the astral like trying to work with this fire and he's just kind of like curled up around me sitting there just watching and like chuckling that this human's trying to control fire.
I love that.
Yeah. So
I
he's like,
love that.
yeah. So he's older, but he's like this amused, like uncle, grandfather kind of like energy all the time.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like he just wants like every so often just like pat me on the head and be like, there. Like,
Oh, I love it. I love it.
um, so he was the first. Nazreen, who's my creativity dragon, was the one that came through next.
Beautiful.
And she was actually again part of, so I did a 9-week channeling class, and so we were doing different meditations, and so hers was we were looking for the different keys for different things. And so it'd be like, like a key for love, a key for whatever. So when they said, okay, you need to find something in your sanctuary, this is the way they did it. It's like your mental sanctuary, your astral
Yeah.
sanctuary,
Yeah.
like find a key for creativity for that door. And she showed up and gave me one of her horns and said, here's your key for creativity.
Wow.
Now, I think a lot of the people that have met me and know me, I am incredibly creative. Like I'm
Yes, you
constantly
are.
like making art,
Yes.
knitting,
Mm-hmm.
sewing, cooking,
Mm-hmm.
baking. Like it's just every kind of it's an ingrained part of me.
Yeah.
So to have a dragon for that, I think kind of makes sense, honestly.
Yeah.
But she's one of the ones that gets neglected more often than not because like I maybe have time to paint once a month, if that.
Right.
But saying that, like, okay, how much time am I spending scrolling on like Facebook or social media that I could be painting
Yeah.
or drawing?
Yeah.
Um, and then I have Magellan who came through. He came through when I started the galactic stuff, so he's actually galactic dragon. So he's made completely out of like stars and galaxies. And he is more of just an observer. Like
Hmm.
I've actually channeled him. He was the first dragon I ever channeled,
Wow.
which was interesting. But a lot of the time, the way I kind of picture him is like we'll be sitting in like our space. So like if I'm sitting in this room here, I almost picture him like above the ceiling, kind of looking down in and just being like, "What you
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
Just keeping an eye on you. What you doing?"
Yeah.
And his channeling him was interesting because you know how we normally talk? It wasn't
Hmm.
like that. It
No.
was every single word was thought about before it came out. Like, just-
And then you're just like, okay.
okay, yeah, we got a timeline here. Anyway, but he's ancient, so he's like, I got all the
Mhm.
time in the freaking world, right?
Yeah.
So
What a wonderful
yeah,
yeah, what a wonderful energy to have. Like
right?
to be able to have all
Yeah.
that wisdom. Yeah.
Well, and then to come to find out with Jen's book that she wrote, that like dragons were there kind of at the beginning of creation.
Hmm.
So I'm like, okay, is he one of those? Like, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that's kind of interesting. And then of course, Rainier, who we talked about backstage,
Um,
he came forward at the summer solstice 2 years ago. And I was told by him that he's here for the next phase of my life, my next phase of my journey. And really, honestly, since he came forward, everything has like ramped up times 1,000.
yeah.
Like, I was just getting my feet wet at that point, but now it's just like you're whole hog into this, like you're doing it. Um, and he's the one I worked with the most, honestly. I jokingly call him my emotional support dragon.
Yeah.
So you know
Yeah.
how like people have like cats or dogs or whatever
Yep.
with like a vest that are like they
Hmm.
carry around with them as their like therapy animal? He's
Yeah.
like my therapy dragon.
Yeah.
So if I'm scared, if I'm unsure about something, I know I can call him in. If I'm struggling to get into that meditative state and up into my sanctuary, I can
Hmm.
call him in and just put my hand on him and we go.
Yeah.
Um, so he is kind of that constant, and at least in my life now.
Yeah.
Um, and then the last one, I'm still unsure what their purpose is, but I'm keeping it open.
Yeah.
Um, but his name's I call him Mal for short, but Melchiazar is his like full long name. Yeah.
Man, these are the best names ever.
Right.
Yeah.
Because because I was getting two names. He's like, no, it's like the two together. Because I had Balthazar, which is um was one of the names, and he was one of the wise men that went and visited Jesus as a baby.
I was gonna say it sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. But then there was Melchizedek, who was a king during that time as
Hmm.
well. So I'm
Wow.
like, is it that one or is it that one? He's like, no, it's both. So I'm like, okay, fine. So it's Melchiazar is the but he came through. I actually went to a crystal store and found a selenite dragon
Yeah.
head. And he
Yeah.
came through when I bought that. And so I use it sometimes to channel. So I'll
Yeah.
actually like channel dragon language.
I think it's
Um
really helpful to
yeah.
have things like that you can
Yeah.
physically hold on to. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, and it's very that one he tends to be very talkative. I feel like it's a he.
Mhm.
Um, and sometimes he's come on like past life journeys and stuff with me because he's like huge, but then he'll shrink down and be like a little like shoulder dragon.
Yeah.
And I know he's different than like Rainier, who like he comes on the one side and Rainier's on the other. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see
Yeah.
what kind of develops from that relationship. But I also tend to help others find their dragons.
Yeah.
So when I'm in the
I can
space, I'll come
definitely,
forward.
yeah, I can
Yeah.
definitely see that. You're
Yeah.
like the doula,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
dragon.
Yeah.
You're the dragon
Yeah.
doula.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Ooh, I like that. I'll have
I
to
like
coin
that
that.
too.
Trademark.
I love that too.
Yeah.
Um, so so now that we're I just want to mention that
Yeah.
I just got a reading from you
Yes. Yeah.
with the cards and the different decks. And one of the things there are many things that I really resonated with. Resonated with.
Resonated. English is hard.
Um, and it reminds me of like your teacher, like who was channeled through your teacher. And,
Mm,
when Rainier is there, it's just like this place where you shared with me this place that I can go where it's like there's no judgment, especially from
hmm
like my own brain.
Right.
It's kind of like I can step out of my humanness with all of these like blah blah blah, like low self-esteem or ego or
Yeah.
whatever, all those wonderful things. I can go into this really um lovely place. And I
hmm
feel like that would be really helpful to people out there who, I mean, no matter how far we are in our spiritual journeys, there's
Right.
always those times of frustration, or like you feel like you're in a rut, you feel like you don't have time to really explore this and that, and is it going to go away? Like there's all of these questions.
Right.
But I feel like it's really important for people. Maybe you could talk about like how did you set up your sanctuary?
Yeah. So there's like my astral sanctuary and then there's my here sanctuary, which are, I'll say,
Yeah.
two different kind of pieces. So the astral sanctuary I learned about from this 9-week channeling course, and it's kind of the place where we go and meet our higher self. It's that space, that safe bubble.
Yeah.
Um, and it was taught as well as part of the channeling process. So the part of like, when the time, if when the time comes, I'm going to say not if, when the time comes, and I
Yeah.
would were to full trance channel, it's where my consciousness can go and be safe and cozy while, the 3D body's being, doing its job. Um, but so what's really interesting actually with the astral, with the sanctuary, is it constantly is changing. So as my spiritual journey was going on,
Yeah.
it was changing.
Wow.
So it started out as this like small little like stone chapter house kind of room with like tons of bookshelves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because of course, like me, I'm like books. Give me all the books. I want to know all the knowledge.
Yeah.
Um, and so that was where like my higher self was. That was where my, spirit guides, spirit animals, everything would kind of come in.
Yeah.
If we did like inner child work and stuff like that, it was again a safe place I could go and like look at those inner parts of myself.
Yeah.
Um, but then as I started to go travel on the journey, that place got too small. So then it expanded. So I
Yeah.
would have like the chapter house, but then there's like now a greenhouse built off the side of it, or
Yeah. Yeah.
things like that. And then I couldn't even tell you what exactly had happened, but I went into the sanctuary one day and I'm like, where the hell am I? Like
Yeah.
it had completely changed. So
Wow.
instead of being this chapter house with the greenhouse and that kind of stuff,
Hmm.
um, it ended up being it's now a ship on water. It's like a
Yeah.
big, almost like, like pirate, like multi-deck, like wooden ship
Cool.
on water. And so I'm like, okay, we're just gonna go with it at this point.
Yeah.
Um, but for me here in the 3D, much like you, like nature is like my go-to. So there's a park next to my house, like 2 minutes from my house here, because I live in place. So I don't have a backyard. I don't have any outdoor space. I have a balcony, but
Mhm.
not really, there's no trees or, anything like that.
Yeah.
But there's a park about 2 minutes from my house where there's a willow tree right next to a pond where
Mm.
there's like birds and everything. And I can actually, there's this perfect spot to just go and sit under the willow tree.
Mm, lovely.
I mean, I grew up like Pocahontas is like my favorite movie.
Yeah.
It and Hunchback of Notre Dame, like
Yeah.
two completely different sides of the spectrum. But anyway,
Yeah.
but like Grandmother Willow, like
Ah,
that's so like when I sit under that tree, I can just like put my hands or my head against it and just close my eyes and just, you know,
yeah.
be my little self. The other thing I love to do is swing. So I'm what in my 30s and I
Yeah,
still
you
love
love
to
to
like
swing.
find a swing set and just go and just
Oh,
that
that's
feeling of like freedom and weightlessness and all that. Yeah.
those are great
Yeah.
ideas. Yeah, actually one of the books, somebody from Canada I met when
Okay.
I was traveling, and when I got home, they mailed me this book. And it was like the almost like the first spiritual book that made sense to me,
Okay.
right? And so it reminds me of your sanctuary because it had this exercise where you have this room that you can go
Yeah.
to and you get to visualize this room and you can put anything in it you
Yeah.
want. Do you want an
Hmm.
orange couch? Like
Go
what
for it.
color are their walls?
Yeah.
And you can be like as creative as you want to, and that was just a really good place to start is just setting up your sanctuary, like,
Right.
and just launching an investigation of like, well, what would your sanctuary look like? And would it always be the same or would it
Right.
change over time? And I really love kind of goes back to, what your mantra was to just like stay curious.
Right.
And and then the other thing too is have you ever had those moments of like just wanting something to come in and it's not coming in?
Yeah. Yeah, my running joke with my teachers is my favorite. I hate the P word, so patience.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am a very impatient. I want it to happen now.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it goes back to kind of childhood and the traveling and just having no consistency so that like everything was changing all the time. So I'm like, I want to know what is happening so I can plan for it.
Oh, I was like
And
to be
so,
safe, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So like a lot of my spiritual journey right now is I feel something's coming. I feel something's coming. I feel something's coming. No clue what it is yet, and it's driving me insane.
Yeah.
But like I'm just being told, like people do card readings all the time. Stop, rest, patience. It's
Yeah.
coming. Yeah, but when? I got a time.
You
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
that's what I really love about the reading that you gave me today
Yeah.
was a lot of that. Like, hey, to begin, you need to stop.
Yes, that was such a funny card.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just like, oh, I don't have to do anything right now because nothing's coming. And I like it's really frustrating. But
Hmm.
if you kind of reframe it and be like, okay, well, this is the in-between time where you get
Right.
to rest before this thing comes in.
Right.
It's a way to almost as if they're giving you permission to go swing and
Right. Yes.
permission to go hang out with your tree and not receive any
Yeah.
downloads, you know, just
Because
be
it's one of the
present.
things like once it comes, we're gonna look back and be like, oh, why didn't I rest? Like,
Yes. Yeah, but
yeah.
I'm guilty of that too, Kaylee, of like I want to know everything and I want to know it right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I'll be in like, maybe a class I paid for or something, and I
Hmm.
get like caught up in like, oh my God, all these other people are getting all of this information and all of this
Yeah.
stuff. And I'm over
Yes.
here
The
like,
comparison is,
yeah, I'm
yeah,
just
that's,
over here like I'm not getting anything. And sometimes you get it later, or maybe sometimes the not
mhm.
getting anything is the answer.
I
But
think that's been one of the biggest learning things. And I think we just inherently as humans just do it because the world, I think, kind of teaches us to like always be comparing, always be comparing.
Yeah.
But that's been one of the biggest things. It should be like allowing that for those people, like for if somebody else, as you said, if you're taking a class and somebody else is getting all this information and you're not,
Yeah.
but that's their journey.
Yeah.
You're maybe supposed to be on a completely different journey. Maybe your role in that in their journey is just to hold space in that moment.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, that's such a beautiful way. And in the beginning, I didn't even know what holding space was for somebody. Can you
Hmm.
explain that to people?
Yeah. I'm honestly still learning every day what it is to hold space. But I think as, started where I'm starting on like my teaching journey, and stuff like that, it's just for me anyway, it's allowing them to be that curious piece. It's allowing them to be curious, to experiment, to ask questions and
Yeah.
not be judgmental.
Yeah.
You always hear the what is it like? There's no stupid questions. There really isn't.
Yeah. Yep.
Because you'd be amazed at like, oh, you're probably thinking like, oh, everybody probably knows this. I'm not going to ask. There's probably like at least five other people that probably want to ask the exact same
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
But as teachers too, like I was just when you were talking about the card reading, um, it's the idea of like even as let's say a teacher, even as a mentor or whatever, you get more from your students even a lot of the time than the other
Yes.
way around.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
even by giving you the card reading, I was getting messages for myself or
Yeah.
deeper understanding of a
Yeah.
concept for myself. Or
Yeah.
being like, I can see that in my own life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing just this tiny bit of your spiritual journey. I know it's like but if anybody wanted to work with you,
Yeah,
how would they like what do you offer? How do they find you?
yeah. So my channel on YouTube is WooWooWonderment. So I think you can just search that now and it should pop up because there's a bunch of videos that I've done since.
Yeah.
Um, so you can find me there. I do actually in the description have my email and stuff. So if you actually want to like email me, you can email
Mhm.
me. I also do have my own energy healing business now. It started in January. So it's Spirit Rise by Caliegh. I do actually have it linked on the YouTube channel as well. But I offer both in person here in Ottawa as well as distance energy healing. I do offer card readings as well if you're interested in getting a card reading. I'm working on being able to offer Reiki level 1 distance in the new year. So anybody that's interested in that, feel free to shoot me an email or shoot me a message on the website and say like, hey, I'm interested. I'm also teaching Aqualead right now, so if Aqualead's something you're interested in, that I can only do locally right now, but again, hoping to maybe teach at distance in the future.
Mhm.
But yeah, just like
Yeah.
keep posted. There's lots happening.
A lot is happening, a lot is changing, and as you and I have both
Yeah,
said in the past, is like Reiki is the gateway, and
it
it's
really
it's
is.
great if you like. It's great if that's what you become is like the Reiki master, or even if it's just Reiki
Mhm.
one. But I know we've always said it's the gateway because that's such
Oh,
an easy first step. It's like it's not a
mhm.
large commitment.
No,
Um, and I didn't have, I started my spiritual journey started later in life. So like there's
right.
people out there like in our online community for the YouTube community
Yeah.
who some of them they came into it later in life. And what
Yeah,
a
there's
great
it's
class to
as we,
take.
yeah, as we were saying, like everybody has their different journey. Like some of us
Yeah.
started at, a year old, some of us started at 100 years old. I don't
Yeah. Yeah. I
but
always had this feeling like when I turned
yeah,
60, something great was going to happen spiritually, you know?
yeah,
And some of the community members, I think would
yeah,
really benefit if they wanted to
yeah.
dip their toe into the spirit
I
land,
I
energy
would
land.
say everybody should at least do their Reiki one.
Yeah.
And I just from experience can say that because before I did Reiki, I was taking like CBD gummies and stuff like that to help try and control my anxiety. I would have like, panic attacks, stuff like that, or like
Hmm.
that feeling of having those panic, like panicky episodes.
Yeah.
As soon as I learned Reiki, and as soon as I was able to give Reiki healing for myself, I haven't had to take one since.
Yeah, it really does give one a sense of peace and calm.
Yes.
And speaking as somebody who has anxiety, when I took Reiki too, again, not a huge commitment. It's not like
No.
a month-long class or
No,
anything.
it's not. No.
It's like a weekend,
Yeah.
and that's when I learned the long distance
Yes.
aspect of it. And for
That
somebody,
blew my mind.
yeah, and like I live I live not back then I didn't live in the same place as all
Yeah.
people I loved. Like
Hmm.
I was on the West Coast, they're on the East
Yeah.
Coast, and it felt so good to not feel helpless when something was
Right.
happening to a loved one. And you get the
Hmm.
permission and you send it. Um, it really helped. And then with, being we're sensitive people, it's
Right.
like if there's something like a flood or this or that, and it's like you just send out
Yeah.
like this collective. Um,
Hmm.
and it for me that really helps my anxiety as well.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. You feel like you can contribute some or like give something. If you
Yeah.
feel like you can't do anything else, you're like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah, like you can be a
Yeah.
part of the solution, you know.
Yes.
And it's just this small little thing you can do. And yeah, that's really amazing. Thank you for spending time with us
Yeah, you're
today.
welcome.
Yeah, and
I had fun.
yeah, me too. And I will link all of that stuff on how people can reach you
Sounds good.
down below when this video releases. All right. Have a great day, Kaylee.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.